Am I audible? Am I visible?
Yeah, hello. Yeah,
Hello.
audible, visible.
Awesome, great. So let's begin our session for today.
Yeah.
Sit comfortably. Yeah. Sit in any comfortable posture. Keep your back and neck straight. And when you feel ready, very gently close your eyes. Shift your attention to your breathing. Just observe the natural flow of your breath. Slowly shift the attention to the body. Become aware of your body posture. Check your alignment. Back neck should remain straight. Face, neck and shoulders should be relaxed. And your weight should be balanced equally on both your hips. Gently come back to your breath. Begin to elongate the breathing consciously. Go for slow, long, and deep inhalations. Slow, long, and deep exhalations. Relax your mind and prepare your mind for Om chanting. We will open today's session by chanting Om 3 times, followed by 3 Shantis. Take a deep breath in for Om. 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 Shanti. 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 Just observe the vibrations. Join both your palms together and begin to rub both your palms together. Keep them on the eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palm, begin to open up your eyes and come back with a big smile. Namaste to everyone. Let us begin today's session. So this is your pranayam class. Welcome to your pranayam classes. I will be conducting these sessions for you for the rest of the month. So today we are going to mostly have a theoretical session on the understanding of what pranayam is and why we practice pranayam. What is this pranayam? You know, it's so famous all around the world, the practices of pranayam. And if you are most likely sitting in this class, maybe you have had some prior experience in the breathing practices, but they are not merely breathing practices. So today we are going to deepen our understanding of what pranayam actually is, right? So this is just a basic introductory class for us, but the introductory class actually helps you to form your foundation and hence, you know, change the way in which you do your practice. So I consider it to be a very important class. Okay, introduction to pranayam. So pranayam, this term, it's actually divided into two terms. So it can be divided in two ways. Okay, so I will give both the divisions to you so that your understanding of this term increases. So first division is prana plus yama, P-R-A-N-A, prana plus Y-A-M-A, prana plus yama. This means control of breath. Okay. And the second division is prana again. Prana plus ayam, P-R-A-N-A, prana, then plus A-Y-A-M-A, sorry, A-Y-A-M-A, prana plus ayam. This means expansion. Expansion of vital force. Okay. The second one means expansion of vital force. And first one is control of breath. You can also call it control of the vital force. So prana, this term I will explain more deeply in a little bit. First, let's understand the meaning of pranayam only, and then I will elaborate. Okay. So first one is generally the one that you are aware of, okay, where you can gain more control over the breathing. And once you begin to do that, the various ways in which you do the breathings, those practices are called pranayam. Okay. So suppose I just regulate my breath in a certain way, or I just choose which nostril I am breathing from and which nostril I am breathing out of, or I change the pace of the breathing, right? So this is what I am acquiring control over the breath. Okay. But this is not the only meaning of pranayam. So this meaning of pranayam is very limited in its approach, right? Because the term prana, it is very actually deep in its meaning. So just merely if we cover the breath in the definition of pranayam, it will not do justice to the practice of pranayam, right? So the second meaning that I have written, prana plus ayam. Okay, this is the holistic meaning of the practice of pranayam, which is the expansion of the vital force, right? Expansion of the vital force, right? So now let me explain the term prana to you so that you can understand the meaning much more better. Okay. So prana is something which exists in everything around you, right? As per the modern approach and science, generally the things that we see around us, they are divided either into living or non-living. Okay. However, as if you view the things from a spiritual perspective, or in Indian spirituality, especially, everything is considered to have some form of energy, right? So if suppose I'm wearing this hoodie right now, or jacket, or whatever you call it, right, the sweater. So I have some energy, and then this also has some energy, and when I wear it, it captures my energy. Okay. So when somebody else will wear this, it will capture their energy, right? So means that this thing also has a power to capture the energy, right? So as per the Indian spiritual perspective, everything has the presence of prana in it, right? It just depends what is the level of prana that exists. Okay. So in non-living things also, there is some level of prana that is there, but it is so low, right, that we consider it to be a non-living thing. And for animals, for human beings, the prana is very high, right, and very different. So we are considered to be living beings, right? But there is no such distinction when you see from the eyes of spirituality, right? So this inherent force, which is actually allowing everything around you to exist, the entire cosmos has prana present in it. That is exactly why it is existing, right? So this vital force is present in everything around you and within you, right? So this vital force is what keeps us alive and gives us energy. So when we work towards the expansion of this vital force, we are actually doing the pranayam practices. This is what the pranayam practices mean, right? Now let me take an example. If you believe in the use of various gems and stones, in India, we have various priests, right? And in our families, we consult those priests and look for the right stone or the right gem to wear, which will bring success into our life, or whatever we are looking for, depending on what issue we have. We have a particular gem that is existing. Now, this gem is only a stone, right? But it also has its own energy attached to it. That is why when it comes in contact with your energy, it helps you to, clear out those blockages. So now, if this concept of energy wasn't true, then all of these practices around the world would not have been going on, right? So each and everything in your house also, you will see it has some particular energy, and especially when it comes in contact with you, it captures your energy, right? So when you remove something from your house, or something new is added into your house, it takes you a while to adjust with those things, right? So this subtle energy is what prana is. Everything has prana, right? And even science is proving this thing slowly and slowly. Science is also coming to the conclusions that yogis made years back, right? So the way in which you interact with everything around you, you will see the energy is created in that way, right? So when you guys, suppose you do yoga practice somewhere in your house, so over there, if somebody else also comes and sits, they will feel very, very good over there. Why? Because you created that energy, right? So everything around you will also capture this energy, right? And this energy is actually which is keeping us alive. So when we expand this energy, we expand our years of living on. So you will see pranayam practitioners, they generally live for a very, very long period of time, right? And it's not that they start eating more or they start doing something more, right? It's like whatever prana is present within them, they expand that thing. Suppose the example I'll take to explain this. So you have a phone, you are running out of battery. So what you do, you put your phone on battery saver mode, right? So same amount of battery now, because the settings of the phone are such, now that same battery, it will sustain you for a longer period of time, right? So you would have seen yogis go without eating for multiple days, right? And they still remain alive. So how are they doing this thing? They are working on the expansion of the prana in the body. Prana is present in the body, and they are just making sure that there is an expansion through various practices. Okay, there is an expansion in the prana, and that helps them to go without food, go without certain things for a very long period of time. So prana is basically the essence behind everything, right? One of the ways in which the prana shows up in our body is through the breathing. Okay, that is why most people mistake pranayam to merely be breathing practices. Okay, but it is one of the form in which your prana shows up, right? And breathing is such a wonderful process that if you are not aware of it, it will go on involuntarily, right? But it also provides you the space to gain control over it, right? So what the yogi does is yogi doesn't allow the breathing to go just normally, right, or involuntarily. The yogi gains control over this breathing so that they can change the prana or manipulate the prana, right? And when they do this thing, it leads to various things that happen in the body on a mental level, right? So those show up as benefits of pranayam. But you need to understand that through your breath you are working on something which is very, very subtle and deep. Okay, prana is one of the most important things, right? When you are low on energy, it is because the prana is like depleting. When you have some disease in the body, means the prana is unable to move, or the prana is not able to um, express that well, or it is over expressing itself, right? So all the diseases, they can also be traced back on a subtle level to any kind of blockage in the prana, right? So that is why practices like reiki, they work wonders, because they are manipulating, or they are working on the and on removal of the energy blockages in the body, right? Now you don't have to believe me when I am talking of energy. When you do your practices, you will yourself experience a difference or a change in your energy patterns. Okay, so be very, very conscious of this thing, right? Then all of these terms, they will not matter to you. Okay, you will be able to directly see what is happening on your body, right? So for us, pranayam, this is actually the um, you know second meaning, expansion of prana. Okay, Now, pranayam always comes after asana practice. This is how the step-by-step process has been given. In philosophy classes, we will cover more deeply why pranayam is coming only after asana practice. Can we reverse the, order, or can we not? Right. So these things will be discussed in philosophy. But let me very briefly answer this. You cannot place pranayam before asana practice. Okay, deeply I will answer in philosophy. Okay, so once the body becomes stable, that is when you can start working with the pranayam practices. Okay, this is a prerequisite. Yeah, the stability in the body. If everything in the morning, also in philosophy class, I was talking about this, that if everything is moving, then you will not be able to observe the change coming in one specific thing, right? That is why you will see most of the science experiments also, they put all other factors as stable and then they observe the one thing they are aiming to observe, right? So in this same regard, your body needs to be stable first. It's only then that you will be able to feel or understand the changes that are coming from the practices of pranayama. If your body keeps moving, then you will not be able to observe the exact changes that are coming from your practices. All right. So in a lot of texts, specifically in Hatha Yoga, pranayam is a very prominent practice. And over there, it is said that when the breath moves, the mind also moves, right? So you will see when you practice pranayam, you will also experience some stability of the mind. Why? Because you have worked on stabilizing your breath. And the importance of the breath has been talked of not sorry okay yeah not only in one or two cultures or traditions throughout the world. The importance of the breath and the breathing pattern has been given a lot of relevance, and in fact the gross breathing patterns are connected with an unstable mind, and the smooth breathing patterns are connected with the peaceful and calm state of both the mind and the body. Right. Any doubt so far what pranayam is?
No, thank you.
Great. All right. So let's move to the four very important aspects of pranayam, which are going to be used in your classes in the upcoming days. And even when you teach, you can use these specific terms in your classes. Okay. So I told you the general meaning of pranayam, but there is a very important text called Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Patanjali Patanjali Yoga Sutra, YOGA, and then Sutra is SUTRA. Again, we will discuss these more deeply in the philosophy class. However, he gave a definition of pranayam, and uh, I just want to, he gave four different types of pranayams, and these actually form your aspects of pranayam practices. So, what we are actually discussing right now are the aspects of pranayam practices. First one is called Puraka. Puraka. Then second one is called Rechaka. Exhalation. Okay. Puraka is inhalation, Rechaka is exhalation, RECHAKA. And then we have Kumbhaka, retention, KUMBHAKA. Actually, A is only added when we write these things in English. So it's actually Purak, Rechak and Kumbhak. If you want to get the right pronunciation, it's Purak, Rechak, Kumbhak. Right? Kumbhak is retention, K-U-M-B-H-A-K-A. Kumbhak is your retention. This retention is divided in two parts. Okay. One is called the internal retention. Okay. Actually, it's sorry, one spelling mistake I made. A-N-T-A-R. Antar. A-N-T-A-R. Antar Kumbhak. K-U-M-B-H-A-K-E. Antar Kumbhak. And second type of retention is called Bahir Kumbhak. Okay, so we have four terms. Bahir, Bahir Kumbh, Kumbhak. Okay, this is the fourth one. So first is your Puraka or inhalation. Second is your Rechaka or exhalation. Third is your Kumbhak or retention. Retention is of two types. One is the internal retention and one is your external retention. Okay, these are your four aspects of pranayam, right? Pranayam practices. So these you can use in your class when you are giving instructions, and they actually instructions are given on their basis only, right? Now I told you breathing is going on throughout the day also, right? Breathing is going on all the time. There is no point where you stop breathing, right? And even if you stop breathing, prana and breath are slightly different. Okay, you can stop breathing, okay, but you will still remain alive, right? But if the prana leaves your body, there is no way in which you will remain alive. Okay, so the yogi can stop the breathing also, right? But if the prana leaves the body, there is no chance in which we will remain alive. This is the difference between both prana and breath. Okay, so first thing is the inhalation. So Patanjali, when he talked of pranayam, he gave the definition of pranayam as the cessation of inhalation and exhalation. First thing is this. Okay, you need to know the exact definition of pranayam according to him. Cessation of the process of inhalation and exhalation is what he called pranayam, right? So if you miss out, just let me know. I know I'm going a little bit fast right now, right? So,
It's
okay. So when he further begins to explain, he first says that first type of pranayam. So later on, different practices of pranayam came in. But when he explained pranayam, he called the inhalation to be one pranayam. Okay. Then he called the exhalation to be one type of pranayam, and then he called the retention also to be one type of pranayam, right? So inhalation, as I told you, it's going on all the time, but it is involuntary in nature. So when the term puraka is used, there are certain characteristics that are attached to the term puraka, and these include conscious. First thing, you become conscious. Okay. Second, it is slow. Third, it is long. and fourth, it is deep. Okay. So you will see when somebody gives you instructions, also they ask you to become aware of your breathing. Okay. And then you consciously begin to slow down your breath. You make it long and you make it deep. Means you are going into the practice of Puraka, right? This is the practice of Puraka, conscious, slow, long, deep. Then when we move to Rechaka, so these qualities in Puraka, they are incorporated in the inhalation. When we exhale, right, these qualities are incorporated in the Rechaka, right? So conscious, slow, long, deep. Again, okay, exhalation. And then third thing is your kumbhak. Again, kumbhak, sometimes we end up holding the breath just like that. So that is not kumbhak. You should be aware that you are retaining the breath. And the retention is also of two types. Okay. One is after I inhale, I hold the breath in. Okay. So this is your internal retention or antar kumbhak. And second one is when you exhale, after that you put a pause before you inhale. Okay, so now all the air is out of my system and all I'm doing is not inhaling, just staying or making a pause in the process of inhalation and exhalation, right? So this is the type of kumbhak that Patanjali is talking about when he talks about the third type of pranayam. So first is Rechak, Purak, then Rechak, and then Kumbhak. Okay, Kumbhak can be of two types, internal and external, right? And then he talks of a fourth type of pranayam, which is actually your final goal of practices. Okay, so when we talk of pranayam, we are doing something for a reason, right? Like you are doing asana practice so that you can become stable, your body, there is no movement in the body, and then you are also comfortable, right? When you are not comfortable, your body will move. So you are doing asana practice so that your body remains stable and comfortable. Both these things are the main targets, right? Then when you come to pranayam, your main target is the automatic retention. All right. When Patanjali described pranayam, he said cessation of inhalation and exhalation is pranayam, right? So he's talking about the natural kind of retention. Okay. Now automatically the breath gets retained. All right. There is no force in this. In Antar and Bahir Kumbhak, again, there is no force, but you are constantly applying that retention, right? You are trying to increase your time in that retention. You are consciously putting in the effort, right? But Kevali Kumbhak, I'll just write this down. This is the Kumbhak that Patanjali talked about, and this is your goal of pranayam practice. Okay, whichever practice will get you over here, this is the end point. Okay, this after this you will not require pranayam practice. Okay, you can move to the more advanced steps. Okay. So goal is Kevali Kumbhak, Kevali, Kevali Kumbhak, Kumbhaka, which is your natural or automatic kind of retention. Right? So no matter what kind of practice you do, if you reach this goal, means the entire reason for this step is actually the development of this form of retention, right? So sometimes, when you sit in meditation also, you feel as if the breathing is not working anymore, right? Because when the mind goes in the deeper stages, this automatic kind of retention comes in on its own. You are not even aware, right? So through the practice of pranayama, you can achieve this thing. And you have to actually work towards this only when the natural retention, effortless kind of retention is there, right? And it will help you to go further into your practices when you do this thing. Because when you go into a deep state of the mind, your breathing will begin to disturb you. So the yogis, they observed this thing very, very closely, that when they were sitting in meditation, again and again, the breathing was actually disturbing them after one point of time, right? So what they did in preparation only, they added the practice of this natural kind of retention, so that when one sits in meditation, the kind of disturbance that the breath is causing, that can be eliminated, and then the practitioner can move more deeply into their practices, right? So your four aspects of pranayam are the purak, kumbhak, rechak, and kumbhak being of two types. So four will mean purak, rechak, uh, antar kumbhak, and bahir kumbhak. These are four aspects, and the fifth one that I have written, kevli kumbhak, that is the goal. Okay. Any doubts so far? Anything that you want me to repeat or missed out on? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
All great. Okay. So now when we talk of yoga, there is a concept of the five sheaths, and this is very closely interlinked to your pranayam practices, because you need to know where you are working. All right. So the concept of five sheaths also come in when we talk of pranayam. Okay, these are also called panchakoshas. Pancha, panchakosha, Kosha, or five sheets, five layers, you can say. And with all the practices, you are working directly or indirectly on one of the sheets, right? So yoga doesn't consider you to be just your physical body, right? There are different aspects that you experience, and the sheets are nothing else but what you are experiencing. So when I explain them, you will be able to gain good understanding of what I'm talking about. These are just different dimensions of your own self that you experience. The concept of five sheets is exactly the reason why people don't go anywhere else, they come to yoga, right? Because they are not just looking for flexibility when they come to yoga, right? They are looking for something deeper, right? You are not, if you wanted to do, just gain flexibility, I would suggest that you go join a gymnastics class, or I would say, you can go and maybe do some dancing, do something which is quite entertaining in its nature. But yoga is very, very boring in its nature. If you essentially look at the practices, they are very, very repetitive and boring in nature. So you have come over here with this kind of understanding only, that okay, we are opting for yoga, so there must be some kind of thing that is pushing you. And the concept of five sheets is actually the reason why people join you, because yoga just doesn't work on the body, right? It also helps you to establish stability of your mind, of your emotions. It helps you to work on all of your aspects, right? This is the quality of yoga, right? And this is actually covered by the five sheets, this concept. So first sheet is actually Anmay Kosh. So you know what you can do? You can draw very, very big circle in your notebook, and you can along with that, you can label it Anmay Kosh, ANNAMAYA, Anmay Kosh, KOSHA. So this big circle, which is the most external layer, which you consider as to be the external layer of the body, right? That is called the Anmay Kosh, or your physical body. It is also called the food body, ANNA. This term literally means food. Okay. So, this body, it needs food for its sustenance. If you cut off the food, right, then for some amount of time, yes, you will be able to survive, but after that you will need the food again to keep this body in its proper function, right? So Anmay Kosh is your physical body, the one that is easy to observe, the one in which you can easily see the changes that are happening as you go through your practices. Your smile will get brighter as you practice yoga. Your face, it will begin to glow. Overall your health, posture, everything will improve as you go and do the various practices of yoga, right? So this is very, very important, right? The physical body is the one which we actually work towards the most, right? Because it is very easy to observe, right? Then we have the concept of the pranmay kosh. So now inside that big circle, you can draw a smaller circle and you can name this circle pranmay kosh. Pranamaya, Pranmay Kosh, KOSHA, the vital body, right? So now next thing, which is there, which is at a subtle level, it cannot be observed that easily. And this one is the most relevant one for us when we are going into our pranayam classes, right? So the pranamaya kosh is your subtle body, the vital body, right? And like in your physical body, you have arteries and veins. In this subtle body, this vital body, you have your nadis, 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 which are nothing but energy channels. Okay, nadis are nothing, they are just energy channels. Like your arteries and veins, they carry the blood, right, from one part of the body to the other, right? In that same way, the nadis, they carry energy from one part of the body to the other, right? So when I said there is some blockage, means like your arteries and veins, sometimes there are clots, right, that are formed, or there is some kind of, when cholesterol comes up in the arteries and like shows up in your blood vessels, basically, then the blood is not able to flow properly. It requires more pressure, right, to pass through. So in that same way, the nadis also, they eventually they begin to get blocked, and when the blockage happens, then that thing shows up physically, right? So when you remove that blockage, then that physical uh, physical symptom also that was shown, that will also begin to dissolve, right? So this kosh is the one we are going to work on. This sheath is the one you are going to put the work on when you do your pranayam practices, because it is going to directly affect and impact your energy levels, right? So you will see pranayam practitioners, they have a glow on their face, right? Because this layer is the second layer, and the closest layer to it is what? the physical body, right? So pranayam, when you practice pranayam, your physical body will also start to change. You will see changes in the your face, your overall body, right? You will see the major impact in on your energy, right? You will feel more energetic or you will feel more relaxed depending on which pranayam practice you do. Okay, some pranayam practices, they are meant to make you more active. So when you do them, you will feel more active, right? And some pranayam practices, they are meant to, calm you down. So when you do them, you will feel very balanced, very calm, very peaceful, right? So depending on what practices you are doing, your energy level is the one which will see the impact first. Okay. And then when you move to the third layer, your third layer is your Manomay Kosh. Manomaya. Manomaya Kosh. This is your mental body. Okay, so now you can draw another circle around the two circles, like inside the two circles, and you can name the third circle as Manomaya Kosh, or your mental body. Okay, so now again, we are very, very, you can say, developed beings. We can see the body, we can feel the energy level that we have, and then we have this third aspect or dimension, which is the thoughts and the emotions that we have, right? So all of us, we are, having thoughts constantly. They could have a positive kind of aspect to it, or they can be very negative in nature. And same goes with emotions. When we experience emotions, either they can come up very like positively, or they can also show up negatively, right? So this aspect of your being, this is actually because of another dimension, and it is harder to access this dimension, right? So when you energetically feel low, okay, you can get up and you can, cause more movement. But when the mind is sad, it becomes harder to access, harder to channel the mind, right? So your mind and your emotions, they are forming the third layer, the Manomay Kosh, and these are also things that you generally experience in your life. And because the Pranmay Kosh, this one is lying in between your physical body and your mental body, these are the two layers which are most, which will see the most impact of these practices, right? And main will be your Pranmay Kosh only. So you will see after pranayam practices, your mind will also feel much in a much better state, right? Because directly, again, it is so close to the pranayama coach that the impact is showing up on emotional and mental level. So you will see the, activity of the mind, the way in which it is. If you're doing some pranayam which is supposed to, push the activity of the mind, then you will see that the mind begins to become more active. And if you're going towards relaxation, suppose you're very, very stressed and you do pranayam practice, you will see the mind also starts to become more, calm in nature, right? So direct impact is seen on these two layers when one practices the pranayam, right? Last two layers I will cover tomorrow. So leave some space, right? Because we have to draw two more little circles right now. So any doubts in today's session, what pranayam is, what are the aspects of pranayam, and we are also beginning to cover the 5 sheets. Any doubts?
No, everything's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so let's close our session for today then. So keep your back and neck straight, sit comfortably. Close your eyes. We will chant Om one time, followed by 3 Shantis. Take a deep breath in for Om.
See you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.